this has been on Twitter for a while. It's been trending. A couple days ago, it trended. And they were talking about Kevin Durant's big four in Golden State and in the Nets. So in Golden State, it was Curry, Clay, Durant, and Draymond. With the Nets, it's Kyrie, Harden, Durant, and Blake. You can count them as a big four.
Over Big Joe?
Over Big Joe,
Big
I
three
guess.
and a half.
I think they're doing the Warriors a disservice. It's called the Hampton Five.
Kevon
The
Looney.
death lineup. No, with
Andre
Iguodala.
Iguodala.
Iggy, don't ever say
bro.
Kevon Looney.
So, and I was having this debate with my cousin the other day because he thinks that this Nets team is better than that Warriors squad. And I just want to get your opinion on it. Which KD Big Four is better, or just team is better? The Warriors or the Nets?
I got this, bro, because there's going to be some bias in your heart, even though there might be some bias in my heart also. Talent-wise, I lean the Nets.
What the?
Talent-wise, and this is no disrespect to Curry, because Curry's obviously the second best player out of everyone else other than KD, obviously. That being said, Harden's right behind him. And then Kyrie, in my opinion, is better than Klay Thompson. Draymond and Blake, obviously, it's
What?
Draymond. It's not close.
Okay.
It's Draymond, but it's not like Blake has been completely irrelevant this postseason or while he's played with the Nets.
But he's still not close to Draymond in my eyes.
I'm with you. I just think that Harden and Kyrie, because there's been moments in the past, not of recent, because of recent, Curry's definitely better than Kyrie. However, there's been moments in the past where some could debate that Kyrie played better than Steph Curry. Whether I'm one of those people or not, I won't say. That being said, there's been moments where Kyrie has outperformed Curry. And as a whole, right now, talent-wise, I feel like it's not so far-fetched to say the Nets. But as a team, it's not close. You go with the Warriors. They were probably the most dominant team we've seen since the 96 to 98 Bulls. Probably the greatest team ever assembled. They managed to stay healthy for 2 full seasons, and they played 9 total finals games. It was a walk in the park for them. As soon as they got to the finals, they handled my guys, no question. That first year, 2017, where you thought that it would be somewhat of a series, it wasn't. Went down 3-0, ended up winning Game 4, I guess because you got to win one, especially when you got Kyrie and LeBron. Then the year after, LeBron almost steals one in Oracle, ends up falling the other way. Unfortunately, J.R. Smith forgot how much time it was, so they end up losing that one. But regardless of that, there was no stopping the Warriors when they had KD, Clay, Steph, and Draymond all on the court at the same time. Especially when you have 3 of the best shooters in the NBA. You could have argued that it was 1, 2, and 3 on the same squad for 2 years, 3 years in a row. They probably would have won 3 in a row, obviously, if one of the 2 didn't get hurt.
Yeah, of course.
I feel like if Clay even stays healthy that year, that they probably could have won the championship against Toronto.
The thing about the Warriors is their parts fit better than the Nets' parts.
Correct.
Harden makes it all work in Brooklyn because he is that guy. But when you talk about the Golden State's Big Four, Durant cancels out Durant. Curry cancels out Harden. What you're really arguing is Kyrie versus Clay and Draymond versus Blake. Draymond is light years better than Blake right now.
Correct.
Now, even when Blake was an all-star, I would have still taken Draymond over him.
Really?
Yes, because his playmaking prowess and his defensive prowess is just too immense. He doesn't get his just due quite enough. But then you look at Clay versus Kyrie. Kyrie individually is better, no doubt. But when we talk about Clay, he can fit on so much more teams than Kyrie.
I think every team in the NBA he can play on.
He can fit so much better. Not only can he shoot lights out from the 3, he's probably the second best shooter to ever live, but he's a lockdown perimeter defender.
Yep.
That's something that Kyrie won't be. And this Golden State team, people forget, this was a top 5 defense in the NBA, along with the best offense. This Nets team is the best offense, one of the worst defenses. That's why, for me, I think the Big Four in Golden State was better because all their parts fit nicely. And they still had Iggy off the bench or starting sometimes Kevon Looney. Sean Livingston was good.
One of the most underrated players in NBA history. So do you think talent-wise it's close? Or are you saying even still talent-wise you're leaning Golden State?
Even talent-wise, I'd lean Golden State because I understand Brooklyn has pieces like Joe Harris. He's good, no doubt about it. But if I'm if I'm making a championship team, would I rather want Joe Harris when I already have 3 offensive superstars or Iggy?
Easily,
I think
Iggy.
I would get
Iggy.
Iggy because of that championship mentality and because he's
his
such a great
defense.
defender.
Yep.
And then you look at other guys like Bruce Brown, Nick Claxton. I mean, they're good. They have looked better with the Nets.
Jeff Green.
But Jeff Green also. But are those guys that are going to move the needle much? I don't think so. Is Nick Claxton, Kayvon Looney? They're about on the same level.
I think, we're forgetting JaVale McGee, Kevon. Like, these are guys, like, with those Warriors teams, we saw a lot of the experience on the bench.
For real.
We saw Steph, Clay, and KD, a different system, a different energy. They were blowing teams out. And plus, we only got to see 8 games from the big three, aside from the playoffs. Of course, we saw them dominate Boston, but Boston wasn't fully healthy. But, like, I just feel like this Warriors team, bro, I'm looking at this Warriors team, 2016, 2017. They lost to 1 game in the playoffs.
How many Hall of Famers are on that squad?
This one?
Yeah.
4.
You wouldn't say Iggy's a Hall of Famer?
He could get in
He
one
could,
day.
based off you asked me,
Uh-huh.
4. What the NBA has, probably 5.
Probably 5.
But 2016, 2017, they swept the Blazers, swept the Jazz, swept the Spurs, and then beat your guys in 5. They lost a game.
Yeah, it's insane.
16. The only other team
No,
that did that was LA.
Cavs
with
actually.
Kobe and Shaq.
Cavs did that. They went swept.
Oh, yeah, and then they
swept,
lost.
And then we got smoked.
Yeah,
by
like
them.
I think the only team that's done that 16-1 record, the last team, I think it was Kobe and the Lakers. Kobe and Shaq,
Yep.
they did that, dominated, and then lost to AI. That's a pretty impressive feat. I think with Brooklyn, a lot of the guys on the bench, they're young. They don't have that championship pedigree or that experience. And it's pretty ISO heavy. James Harden controls the offense. He's kind of the main guy. I think with Steph Curry and them, you saw a lot of ball movement. Even Steve Kerr, you saw him put his offensive prowess into it, his coaching prowess into it. Steve Nash is kind of still a young rookie. I think this Warriors team, had just had so much experience and so much fun and so much energy. It was just a different vibe. Like Joel said, they were top 5 in offense and defense. The Nets are one of the best offensive we've ever seen, but they're a statistically horrible defensive team. So I just think, this team, and like we said, we didn't get to see much of this Nets team. We only seen them for 8 games and then the series against Boston. We still might not get to see enough of them until next year fully because Kyrie's out for a series.
He's out for this series.
Yeah, so and they might lose, so we might not even get to see this team in full, in the full gratitude. But I think the Warriors, easily, those teams were the best teams in NBA history.